I was trained in set design and costume design. Way too many projects. Saturday Night Live, Maisel, Boardwalk Empire, Milk, Eat, Pray, Love. I did the reshoots on The Departed.
Did you have any experiences with Martin Scorsese?
There were some pretty extensive reshoots. And I remember him walk over to the set that I'd created. He kind of needs his space, so I always gave him, I never crowded him. And he looked around, and then he kind of looks down when he walks. And as he passed me, he said, "It's perfect." That's all I needed from him. I was born in a little town halfway between St. Louis and Kansas City. California, Missouri is the name of the town. We lived in a two-room house. We didn't have indoor plumbing. It was pretty primitive. As an only child, I had to sort of fill my time with my imagination, and I had never seen a movie or had never been to a play, but somehow I figured out how to hang up my grandma's quilts and make side wings and a backdrop and arranged furniture and talked my cousin Connie into being my leading lady, and we would do plays for the family. This is where all the drafting and model building and all that's done.
Was there ever like a light bulb moment where you're like, I'm good at this?
I'm not that comfortable talking about how good I am. I was going to be an art major prior to finding theater, and I would sit and look at a blank canvas and not have any idea what I was going to put down. When I discovered a play that says he comes in the door and walks down 3 steps and blah, blah, that was what I needed. I needed some sort of structure. I needed a story. I went to a small college and a very small theater department. I think there was only one teacher. I said I might kind of be interested in getting involved with the set design, and he said, "I think I'll just let you do it." As an undergraduate, I designed 4 sets a year with a budget from the university, and that's kind of where I got started. This is a moment that happened on the set, which I thought was really interesting. Somebody made the suggestion that we use wall-to-wall carpet. Midge likes the color pink, and I just put my finger on one and said, let's do that. And when the wardrobe came in, it was this great matching pink. Sometimes these are happy accidents that happen. If we had sort of talked too much about it, we probably would not have done that, but it looks great in the scene. Tulane University offered me a full scholarship, and when I was out of graduate school, I then taught costume design and set design. This is a rehearsal. I recall one of the teachers I worked with, I said, I'm just gonna move into the city next year, try to freelance. And he said, nobody does that without a sure thing. And I was like, watch me. An art directing job came up at Saturday Night Live, and I went in for the interview and got the job. I was there the 4th season. That was my first season, and Gilda was still there, and Lorraine Newman, and pretty much the original cast.
So what did you learn from Saturday Night Live?
How to work really fast. You don't spend a lot of time overthinking things. I was the guy that went to the shop with an armful of drawings. This window could work, this door could work. We had to put it all together by Friday afternoon. Finished painting on Saturday, went to a dress rehearsal on Saturday evening and a live show on Saturday night. I would say that my big break was A League of Their Own. I was scared to death of Madonna. And we were all sitting down to dinner once, the actors, and Madonna came in and sat down right next to me, and I don't think I said 3 words, and then I was just like, this is Madonna, I can't. I worked with De Niro, and he's very focused on his character and what he's doing. When I was doing Milk, we shot all of it in San Francisco, and we built a set that matched all of the photos of Harvey's store and brought those pieces in and set it in place. And some guy who had lived in the neighborhood for decades walked in and he said, "Oh, yeah, huh. This is Harvey's shop. This looks just like it looked. What a dump. Ryan Murphy saw Milk, and then he was doing Eat, Pray, Love, and he came back to his office and said, I want that designer. That kind of job doesn't come along that often. All over the world, there are teams of movie makers. I remember in Thailand, I think we needed 20 bird cages or something like that. The set dressers just sat down and made them. And they were beautiful. Boardwalk Empire. I did more research on that show probably than any I've ever worked on. Everything for the 20s. I mean, paper clips and paper and everything. We keep collecting research. It keeps growing. Looks like a lot of these were taken from postcards and blown up. These are screen grabs. They're production stills. This is from the Catskills. It was one of the original resorts. It actually dates back to the 1860s, owned by the same family today that owned it then. We did quite a lot of work there. This is actually Midge's living room, the bar. Here's the foam banks at B. Altman. It was scripted to be a broken chair. Just before we shot, I had them cut the leg off and would put it on a stack of books, and that's how we shot it. Something I think that we are very conscious of is not taking the actor out of the moment. I mean, if an actor's working at his desk and he's opening a desk drawer and it's empty, that takes the actor out of that moment. I mean, it's all about sort of giving an environment that is real. Sometimes I'll come in here and I just have to have the quiet, to think about something. I told my wife, I felt like the middle of the afternoon was my magic hour, and she said, just before your nap. It's a very creative time of the day. That's when the questions really come up. Choices of fabrics and paint colors and how that's all going to work with the next set and what those colors are. There's a puzzle involved, and solving that puzzle, I enjoy that part of it. It probably also makes me a little more social. I'm a little more solitary as a person, and I think that that's an aspect of this that is kind of good for me personally.
What are your memories of New York City?
It was kind of an amazing place. I'm one of the few people on the crew who are old enough to remember. I miss the mom and pop stores and all of that. And people would lament the loss of that, and I would say, oh, New York is so big and it's never going to change. It's always going to, but New York has changed a lot. I'm grateful for having had that experience. I feel fortunate, and I apply a little bit of that to designing Maisel. I've had several people tell me that they have mothers or relatives who grew up on the Upper West Side. One of our crew members says that his mother cries every time she sees the show because it reminds her of what her life was there. People have commented on the level of detail on this show, and I can't imagine doing it any other way. I mean, you feel it when you read the script, what it needs to be, and I enjoy the process of the discovery of what the project is. Being older or old, just plain old, it's not a bad thing for me because I didn't have my greatest success in my 20s and then nothing after that. As you have more time in this business, you learn more and you're better at your job, I think, if you're paying attention.
Your parents, before they died, did they witness your success?
Yes, yeah.
Did they see you win an Emmy?
My father was dead at that point, but my mother did, yeah. She's only been gone about 4 years, so. It's interesting because she had a heart problem and she was in the hospital for 2 weeks and didn't recognize anybody. By the time I got there in Missouri, she was talking, but not making any sense. And she didn't recognize me. But she talked about me a lot and how proud she was of me, and that felt good. had way too many projects. I remember, I think it was on the Pledge, maybe, we were scouting a location. We had to climb all the way up this rocky trail to get to the top of a cliff overlooking the water, and I was getting a little winded, and I said, wow, I'm not 30 anymore. I'm not 40 anymore. Actually, I'm not even 50 anymore, you know, but there's a time when that just becomes part of who you are. My career's had more momentum as I've gotten older. My greatest success has been after I turned 60. And I'm at a point in my career where I don't have any intentions to stop. You know, if you love what you do and you're not quite where you want to be, just don't give up. I'm looking forward to whatever's next.